Cenk, you're the OG of the online news world and of progressive thought in this world of changing politics. I want to talk to you about everything I can squeeze into the next few minutes. Here he is, the founder of the TYT network, Cenk Uygur, everybody. Yeah. From an undisclosed location. Looks kind of like it's log cabiny behind you.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson's letting me borrow his studio for the weekend. So Jimmy Dore's going to stop by in a minute. And
all right, you've got a real party going on. I have a dream that somehow all of the super dug-in arch rivals politically and in sort of this world of thought exchange and idea exchange, that they're all just performative, and then they just take off their mask after, and everybody's at a cocktail party where they're all, backslapping and laughing.
Well, that actually described American media for a long, long time. That was kind of true.
Right.
Now, if it would be fairly surreal, and that movie in your head would be directed by Andy Kaufman. That's where he's gone all these years to go direct that movie, the most spectacular movie ever made. No, seriously, I've seen a lot in these last 25 years of being in media. And in the old days, I always felt slightly discomforted by the fact that we did get along in the green room, right? That people would drop all the fights in the green room and be fairly amiable. And I always thought it feels a little fake. Well, mission accomplished in the wrong direction. We overcorrected. Now we all hate each other. And
it's remarkable. The jihadism is really scary. I want to ask you about, I can't, the elephant in the room really is this Trump situation and how it's being exploited politically by Trump. It seems as though he's playing the same old tunes in his, his post-indictment remark / rally that he had. It's so arch, it's so intense, it's so personal, the going after Bragg and his family. And you have, I think it's either Trump Jr. or Eric actually posting pictures of his wife and his child. There's another level of rancor, and toxicity. And so when you talk about media, I see it in the political discourse now.
Yeah. No, look, I saw this story about the Trump kids, Junior and Eric, and how they were going after the judge's family in a vicious kind of way on social media. And so it's scary on a number of fronts. Number one, these guys do literally direct stochastic terrorism, in my opinion, where they point to a target and go, golly gee, I wish somebody would do something about that. And then lo and behold, some percentage of the time they do. And it's almost always violence. And so that's kind of how the brown shirts worked. It was they would direct vigilante terrorism against their political opponents. And so we're definitely in scary times. I wish that we could have had a frontal attack against the establishment that wasn't loaded with a bus full of lunatics and criminals. If what we needed was a sound, rational, yet vituperative, still, let's be honest, a little bit angry, attack against the establishment. But instead we got this pathological criminal who can't stop breaking the law. And now a cult has formed around being pro-criminality, when no, that wasn't the point. The point was we're all frustrated that no one in power ever gets prosecuted. Now we've lost the right wing saying no one should ever get prosecuted, or at least my political opponent should get prosecuted for no goddamn reason, and my guys should be able to break any law that they like. No, you missed the whole point of the revolution. No, the whole point was to get equality and justice for all, not just for your side or my side.
So well said. Right. It's really descended into, political camps. Vituperative, Alding. Yes. I'll tell you, though, that when you look back at, and I was just mentioning this to John Rothman, who was just here, the passes that we typically give high-placed government officials and even high-placed members of the Wall Street community when it comes to the way they have Well, they pursued, in the case of the Iraq War, the black sites, the torture. I mean, there were war crimes, I think, evidence of war crimes all over the place. No one is held to account. Same thing with so many of these Wall Streeters who brought the economy to their knees and continue to bring the economy to their knees. And then we go after Trump here. Is the argument, Cenk, hey, look, how can you go after our guy Trump, but then let these other guys skate? Is there anything to that?
Oh, there's definitely something to that. So that's why we all feel like we're caught in some sort of, torture chamber where there's gaslighting in every direction, no matter where you. The right wing says, no, all these obvious laws that Donald Trump broke, your eyes are lying to you. No, he didn't sleep with the porn star. He didn't pay the hush money. It isn't illegal to do that according to campaign finance law. No, you can cheat on your taxes. Yes, you can falsify business documents. No, none of that stuff is true. You can't do any of that. It's all illegal. His co-conspirator went to prison for 3 years. Now, having said that, when the establishment says no, everything's even-handed, people prosecute the powerful and all the time, and Donald Trump is not being treated differently, that also is gaslighting. And that's also not true. And it drives people crazy. And it's part of what's driven the right wing crazy, because they're like, well, look, I know that's not true, so I guess the opposite is true. And the reality is, no, brothers and sisters, gaslit in all directions. None of it is true. Okay. Donald Trump did break the laws, but so did a lot of other people in power. You want to know a guide to whether someone who's done white-collar crime is going to get prosecuted? We tell people on the Young Turks this rule all the time, and you can go backwards to the last 20, 30 years, and you can go forwards, and you will see going forwards from now on, this rule is always true. So how can we predict the future if the situation isn't rigged? So the rule is the only people who ever get prosecuted for serious white-collar crime are the people who stole from other rich people. You steal from the poor, you steal from the middle class, you steal from the American people, you're never going away. That's perfectly normal among the rich and powerful. That is what the mainstream media will never tell you, because they are the rich and powerful, and they serve to protect the rich and powerful, right? No, the only time those guys ever go to prison is if they rip off Goldman Sachs. And Bernie Madoff's only crime was that he stole from the rich. So these things are true. And unfortunately, like, there's a couple of shows left, your show, our show, just a handful others that'll tell anybody the truth, which is, yes, the elites are screwing us. Yes, the game is rigged against us. But yes, that doesn't mean that Trump can break all the laws he likes.
Well, it's just you're so sweet to include our show in it. I mean, what I'm seeing from TYT, though, is you guys have really been crusading in this arena for a long, long time. Now, I mean, Cenk, isn't it true that when you started, I think you were the first show on YouTube? Is that right?
So kind of. So the first video ever was by the founders of YouTube, right?
Right.
And Young Turks joined in the first couple of months of YouTube, so there must have been some videos. I don't know if there were any shows before we got on there, but we were the first official partner of YouTube. When they decided to monetize and share with the YouTube creators, now known as the YouTubers, we were the very first YouTubers.
And since then, you have such a crowded field. I mean, it's an industry that's grown up around you. And even, I mean, it's grown up in all kinds of different ways. I mean, you can find, YouTube. I just was trying to buy a toaster, and I did a deep dive on YouTube about different toasters and various features. And literally, there are people there reviewing toasters, and there's a 20-minute, and it's just one of probably 50 reviews of different toasters. It sounds so silly, but that's just, so I'm saying it's across an entire breadth of material. But even just in the world of politics, and even in the world of progressivism, there is a much more crowded field than I think anyone ever could have envisioned.
Yeah, well, so part of the reason why I decided to go into online media was because I had no money. If you wanted to start a media network in traditional places like TV, you needed a couple of $1 billion, and my bank account was at zero. So that option was foreclosed to me. Whereas in the online media world, you could put up any videos you like, you could make any show you like, and then you could do it at a relatively low cost. That was a huge advantage, right? The second advantage that we had was that no one in media would tell you that we were living under corporate rule and that politicians were liars. They all kept pretending there were real debates when in reality they're all bribed by millions of dollars in corporate contributions. Every debate we have in America is fake. So we were always going to go into the Iraq war. The entire debate was fake, and that was orchestrated. That play was orchestrated by mainstream media. So now that turned into an advantage, Mark, because now there's no gatekeepers, and yeah, we don't have any money, but hey, every person that stumbles upon the Young Turks, especially back then, was like, holy cow, wait, that's true. How are they allowed? Like literally people would write in and go, are you allowed to say that? Are you allowed to say things that are true? And so now because of that, what happened was inevitable. Without the gatekeepers, more and more people started saying things that are true online. And the ones that were particularly charismatic, particularly right, etc., wound up gathering bigger and bigger audiences. Now there's an army of progressive shows. Most of them are just individuals, right? But there's a couple of companies like TYT that's does progressive media in a bigger way. But overall, the most unwritten story in American media is the rise of progressive media from the grassroots of online media. Like the right wing thinks they've lost completely. That's why they're pouring in hundreds of millions of dollars to try to get a couple of bastions within the ocean of progressive content. So they fund Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Dennis Prager, et cetera, in a desperate attempt to hold off the tide. Yet, have you ever seen any New York Times articles about that? Have you ever seen that even remarked upon or frightened by, or just noted in any way on CNN, New York Times, cable news in any way, shape, or form? No, the only people talking about it are, funny enough, are Republican pollsters who are saying, guys, we've lost. We've lost all of the young. TikTok is so progressive, we have to shut it down and pretend that it's a national security issue. Yet no one in mainstream media talks about that wave because honestly, they hate that wave. They hate it. It's young people who won't say that the status quo is great, that corporate rule is great, and that we should be ruled by the mighty and powerful. So mainstream media absolutely despises what we have started.
When you say mainstream media, just so you can help us recalibrate here in our last few minutes, you're talking about legacy media, network news, I assume the way the networks express on cable news outlets that they own. Is that what you mean?
100%. Yeah. Look,
that's in television, but you also mean the Times.
I do. Cable news is the worst of it, and television is particularly empty. But I call them news actors, not news anchors. They read scripts. They don't even half the time they don't even know the stories, and they all act out a play. Oh, one guy got $1 million from that company, the other guy got $1 million from that company. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore the elephant in the room and pretend they're having an honest debate. Hey, let's roll in the news actors. They're really good at pretending there's an honest debate going on in Washington. But yes, it definitely includes print as well. There's, look, AP and Reuters, they do their best. I want them to be better. I want them to be as objective as possible. I don't want them slanted in our direction. I want them actually objective. But oftentimes, even like NPR will be terrible. I mean, if Bernie Sanders or any progressive runs, you tune into NPR and they will tell you corporate pulp about how socialists will destroy the system that we have, our beloved corporate system, which is so great and only kills 65,000 people a year because they don't have health insurance, let alone all the other problems. No, mainstream media is trash. It's a dumpster fire.
And mainstream media, as you've noted, is losing its hold. So they are giving up more and more real estate. CNN is desperate. I mean, a CNN, MS to a degree, Fox News Channel even, they're losing audience in huge chunks.
Yeah, Mark, this is the end of my book, Justice is Coming, which is going to come out in September. You can pre-order if you like at tyt.com/justice. Look, part of the advantage that we have, and a very ironic advantage, that mainstream media completely ignores progressives, hates progressives, has disdain for progressives, and views progressives to be invisible, is that they're never going to see us coming. We've almost won. Our armies have surrounded their armies. Every day, CNN and MSNBC drop more and more audience. Their average age now at CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC are 67, 69, and 70. They're basically doing shows out of senior citizen centers, and the online army rises and rises and rises. But mainstream media, now surrounded and outnumbered, doesn't even see them, which is the most amazing part. And I quote Mark Twain. It's a little bit cliched, but it's totally true. That's why he said it. That's why it resonated. Change happens really gradually, and then all of a sudden, all of a sudden is right around the corner.
In our last couple of minutes, first of all, please don't make fun of older boys and girls, because I love older boys and girls, and we have a lot of progressively minded older boys and girls who are part of our family here in this. I know you weren't, but I'm just kind of giving you a hard time.
No, look, guys, I talk about
You're
average.
saying the audience is going away because they're literally dying off on Fox News Channel, et cetera. I think that was the point you were trying to make in part anyway.
Yeah, I that's partly what it is. Nobody's getting cable anymore and watching those guys. The cord cutters are now cord nevers, right? So they have no new energy coming. Guys, a lot of people in our audience are older too, and I love them. They're some of the best diehard progressives. That's not the point. The point is, unfortunately, there are demographics that show you clearly which direction they vote, right? So under 45-year-olds vote very progressive. Above 65-year-olds, unfortunately, are the most conservative voters.
Sure.
On average, right? And why are they the most conservative? Because they consume not only right-wing media, they consume mainstream media. And so they have been fed corporate propaganda their whole lives. By the way, that includes me and probably you, Mark. I grew up on mainstream media. I grew up on corporate propaganda. And I'm partly pissed because I have the zeal of the converted that I was brainwashed by them. And so once you get rid of that brainwashing, you realize, of course, the powerful don't have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind. Of course, the millions of dollars are bribes. Of course they are. Of course, these politicians are just servants. That's why they're all so weak. That's why Donald Trump ran over them. Even though he has two brain cells to rub together, he easily bullied and manipulated and steamrolled all of the Republicans and almost all of the Democrats. Because they're weaklings. They were hired to be butlers of the rich. That's all politicians are.
I just love that. And you saw it, by the way, in the Leslie Stahl interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's just no real journalism going on, even among people who we tend to elevate to, the 60 Minutes pedestal, for example. Here's one for you. MSNBC is the Fox News of the left. I don't think that's true, though. Cenk, you would say that MSNBC probably, you would say, is not really of the left.
No, not at all. No, MSNBC is the CNN of the center. So no, right. Guys, you're looking at it the wrong way. So right-wing media, Fox News, and mainstream media, CNN and MSNBC, are part of the same team. They're part of corporate media. They're good cop, bad cop. So MSNBC will attack not only progressive politicians, but progressive policies just as much, if not more so, than Fox News. In fact, if you're talking about culture wars, MSNBC and Fox fight, and Fox is on the right, and MSNBC is actually on the left on culture war issues. They are, okay? They don't think you should discriminate against black people, gay people, etc. But when you get to economic issues, they all agree every time. And again, guys, it isn't just about pointing out what's in the past. Watch for yourselves going forward. Whenever there's a proposal that helps the average American, student debt relief, a higher minimum wage, paid family leave, all of a sudden, Stephanie Rule on MSNBC, Sean Hannity on Fox News, Anderson Cooper on CNN, they'll all agree. oh, we can't have this. It's going to cause inflation. The real problem is the workers. They're getting paid too much and then getting their student debts relieved. No, we have to let every major company go bankrupt and give them all of the money, give them trillions and trillions of dollars. Everyone on MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News will agree. But if it ever comes to you, Medicaid, anything that helps you, no, outrageous. They're all economically on the same team. It's good cop, bad cop, just like Democrats and Republicans are good cop, bad cop. The whole point is to trick you into agreeing to corporate rule. They're not in the business of manufacturing news. As a legendarily smart guy once said, they're in the business of manufacturing consent.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Cenk sticks the landing, everybody. How about that? I look forward to your book in September. You'll be back before that a couple of times, I hope, and we'll definitely give the book some love. I've already seen in our chat that many are going to TYT to subscribe, and I think there are good things awaiting them. So I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing there in your superhero lair. I thank you for taking time to spend with us here, and it really was great to introduce you to the audience here. I know you've been on the radio show a couple of times when I was doing a radio show in San Francisco, but this is the new forum. So thank you for joining us on this platform, Cenk.
I appreciate it, guys. Love you. Hope to come back soon.
Cenk Uygur, everybody. Yeah, come on. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.